In this video, I'm going to translate this from the RStudio editor source code to an RMarkdown file, which is really what we're going to be using throughout this class. So it's pretty easy to do. I'm just going to go up to File, New File, RMarkdown. And it will give me a bunch of templates and things, and I'm just going to say Life Expectancy Analysis by Josh Gilbert. You can choose a format. HTML is the default. You could have it go to Word. I think our homework assignments will be in Word, but I'll go to PDF for now. And now it's created this template for me with a title, a date, this output format, and then a bunch of other stuff down here. Now I'm just going to clear this all out. This is just by default. And the beauty of RMarkdown is that it integrates our analysis and our text. So without doing anything, I can just treat this like a text editor. And I can just type, this analysis looks at life expectancy by continent, period. It is very cool, and I'm going to make very bold. And by putting these asterisks around it, that's going to make that bold. So I could just end it here, and I could click this button, knit, which there's a shortcut, Shift-Command-K, which I'll press. And first it will ask me to save the file. So I'm going to call this Life Expectancy Analysis. And what it's going to do is it's going to go through a sort of a translation where it is taking everything I've put in this Markdown file and then going to turn it into a PDF. Now this is particularly boring, right? It has the title, my name, the date, and then some text. This analysis looks at life expectancy by continent. It is very cool, and you can see the bold there. Now, I think we can do a little better than this. So let's add some of our code in. And to add in the code, it's pretty simple. You can do it's another file, I think. Code, insert chunk. And see, it has 3 of these ticks here, R in the braces, and then 3 ticks. This part in the gray is like our code, right? And so the Markdown file integrates regular text and code. So now I can just use this as my coding section, and I can put in a comment, load libraries, and I can just copy in my stuff from before. I'll just add some comments here. I will group or collapse the data by continent and year, and then graph by continent. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to knit it again, and what we're going to see is we're going to get the text and the code and the output, which is super awesome. So now I'm getting my text, and then I get the code. And then this is the output of the code. Now I might not want to see this, and we can get rid of that sort of stuff. It's giving me these sort of warnings and things like that. But I get the text, I get the code, and then I get the output all in one document. You do not have to copy and paste from one place to another. You don't have to, if you could change something in your code, you don't have to change the document. It's one-stop shopping. So let's make this a little better. Let's see, I always forget how to do this. So I'm gonna pull up my other, I put these things in our homework assignments. Our default settings here. Assignments. This is what we want. So this will be at the top of all your homework assignments. I'm just going to put it in here. This is sort of setting the parameters of how I want the Markdown document to work. I'm saying echo equals true is like I want the code to show. I want the figures to be aligned to the center of the document. And I don't want to show any warning messages. It's going to look a lot cleaner. So I'm going to run it again. And now we're going to get the same thing, but without those sort of computer messages in between our text. And this is a lot cleaner now because we're getting just the code and then the figure without those extra messages cluttering up our text. But I'm going to set this one echo equals false. I'm saying don't show setting the different settings for the document. And again, the beauty of Markdown is I can separate these. I could put comments. This graph shows the average trend in life expectancy by continent. I'm going to knit, and we're going to see the code and then that text right below it. So we get that text right there, the code, and then the graph. I could also, let's say I want to, let's look at the first few rows of the data. You can use the head command, head data. Knit, you can always just knit, and it will, you can take a few seconds, and then you can see the output of your file. So now I have this new section here where I'm seeing, oh, well, here's the average life expectancy, Africa 1952. I can actually look at the data directly in Markdown. If I load the knitter library, I can make this look a lot prettier by applying the cable function. And what this is going to do is take it from that sort of ugly text into a nice, pretty PDF table. Oh, look at that. That's nice. Right, so now I'm getting some really nice looking things here. Let's say I wanted to reference one of these numbers in my text. I wanted to say of the average life expectancy in Africa in 1977 was 49.58. Now I could just type that out, but we can do one better with Markdown. So I could do this, right? The average life expectancy in Africa in 1977 was, look at that cable. Okay, let's try that again. There we go, it was 49.58. Now I could write this down. But that's annoying, right? And it's subject to errors. What I can do is tell R to extract the value directly. So I say, okay, well, this is the 6th row and the 3rd column. So I can just tell R, well, spit that number out for me. The average life expectancy in Africa was, I do a backtick, R, telling it that we're using R. And then I'm going to say, take the data and give me 6th row, 3rd column. And the double brackets is like extract. So I'm going to extract this, the 6th row and the 3rd column. And I can check it saying, oh, that's 49.582. But, you know, I want that to be rounded to one digit, 49.6. So this was a lot of extra work, it may seem, than writing 49.6. But if there's ever a change in your data, this will save you a lot of heartache. And now when I knit this, I get that number directly in my output, or in my document, right? No cutting and pasting necessary, no editing necessary. The last thing I'm going to do is just show you, you can do this with models as well. So you have a graph. So let's do a model. And let's say I want to do, this is something we'll learn towards the very end. This is Unit 8B. I want to do a model that is the average life expectancy as a function of year and continent based on the data. And then I want to tidy that up, which I need to load the library for. I'm going to load another library here, a library room. We'll talk about that in class. And then I want to display it as a nice cable with 2 digits. Okay, so now I'm going to run this. And again, instead of the old days where you had to run a model in a program and copy it into a Microsoft Word table by hand, this is going to give you your statistical model directly in the program. I mean, how beautiful is that? And we'll talk about how to interpret this, but basically this is saying the average year-over-year change in life expectancy within continent was 0.31. So on average, the life expectancy increased by 0.31 per year within continents. And these numbers are sort of the differences in the starting points of those continents and so forth. So that is pretty cool, right? And this is, I think, the future. The future is now in terms of data analysis. And I can remember, making one change to the data set and then having to rewrite every single number. With Markdown, you never have to do that. It's one-stop shop, and your data analysis and cleaning and graphs and tables can all be done in a single spot. And they create these beautiful publication quality graphics. And we didn't go into some of the bigger details here, but you can add footnotes, you can have citations, you can insert images, you can have links, you can format the text with headers and so forth. You can add a table of contents, and you'll see some of that in the homework assignments. But this was just broad overview of some of the power of what Markdown can do.